Hi, I'm Amy Hannon, and nothing thrills me more than people and food. I'm a preacher's wife, a mom of 3, and I own my own specialty kitchen store. I've kept an open door and a well-stocked fridge, which means I have fed a lot of mouths over the years. So welcome to my kitchen. This is Cooking Today. Hi, welcome to Cooking Today. I'm so glad that you are here. This recipe that we're making today, y'all, this is the one that I confess I cannot be left alone with. This is the one. Like, I love sweets a lot. We make a lot of sweets on this show. But this is the one that I am reckless with. I have to share them, or I have to make them for company, because if I'm left alone in a room with a sheet pan of lemon bars, they're gone, and I gained 27 pounds. And I'm not kidding you. These are outstanding. We've made a lot of chocolate on this show, cakes and brownies and all kinds of things, but lemon is at the top. Here's my rank. Lemon, strawberry, coconut. That would be my top 3. I live in a house full of people who love chocolate desserts. So because I love to serve my family, I make a lot of desserts that are chocolate. But y'all, it's all about me today. Lemons. This is my favorite. And let me tell you, this lemon bar recipe, I have tried several. And I will just be honest, this is a recipe from Magnolia Bakery. It is in the bottom floor of Rockefeller Center in New York City. I always go in there. I get a vanilla cupcake and a lemon bar. Their lemon bars are amazing. And I want my lemon bar to have a great shortbread crust on the bottom that's real short and crumbly and barely sweet. And I want that filling to make me pucker and maybe even make me have to, wince a little bit, because I want them that tart. This is that recipe. This is the recipe from Magnolia Bakery. It's amazing, has every single thing in it that I absolutely love about a lemon bar. And I know that a lot of people, I think, are intimidated by a lemon bar recipe because, there's like there are a couple of steps, and there's like the crumb layer, the little cakey shortbready layer, and then there's that filling. And I think a lot of people are just not quite sure how that sets up. I think they're intimidated by that layer, because I think they think it's like custard and that there might be something really hard to do, to make it set up. There's nothing. It's easy. You just bake it. So I am going to show you how to make these great lemon bars, my absolute faves. Let me tell you what I got going. I have 2 sticks of unsalted butter at room temperature, nice and room temperature. I put these sticks of butter out probably as soon as I woke up this morning early. So they've been sitting on the counter for a couple of hours, really nice and soft. And I just whipped those for just a second, you saw, just to kind of get them kind of, incorporated and smooth and kind of broken up. Then I've just added in a half a cup of powdered sugar to make that nice and sweet. Now the crust on these is barely sweet. As a matter of fact, it's really reminiscent of, like I was making these the other day, it's very similar to the English shortbread cookies that we made. Very similar, as a matter of fact. And so we're kind of doing the same things here. So we've creamed that together just enough. And then to this, we're going to add just a pinch of salt. And we have an actual recipe, I think it says 1/4 teaspoon of salt. But we have an actual recipe that you can get all these measurements on our website. And then to this, I'm going to add 2 cups of all-purpose flour. And I get my whisk in there and kind of loosen up the flour. That's kind of a trick I've taught y'all before, so that it's not too packed down. Because if you have too much flour, then the crust isn't going to set up. You're going to have a bad proportion to your butter, which is kind of your binder and holds it all together. So we're just doing 2 cups. And then I'm going to put this in. I need to get my shield because this always pops up on me. I've got a new mixer coming soon that I dream about, and I cannot wait to get it in. I can't wait for y'all to see, Okay, I'm gonna lock, and here we go. I think it spit. That one always spits out on me. Okay, and this is basically kind of like our little shortbread recipe. We're gonna let that go and combine, and then while that's combining, I'm just gonna take my little zester here, and I'm gonna get the zest off of one lemon. It's about a teaspoon or so. I can hear it changing a little bit. It's coming together. Yep, there it goes. This is about a teaspoon or so. I really don't measure this. I think it's a little bit difficult, as a matter of fact, to measure zest when you've got your little grater. It's kind of hard to figure out if that's a teaspoon or not, so I just kind of eyeball it. I usually go around this, one lemon and get the zest off. Gosh, it smells so good. Oh, just love it. And I'm just going to call that a teaspoon, about the zest of one pretty good sized lemon. And let me tell you, when you're going around with your zester on your lemon, you want to be sure that you only get that very outside layer and don't get down into the white, because that's where it's bitter. Okay, so I'm going to shake this in here. We're going to give it a little whir, and when we come back, we're going to press it in our sheet pan and get going on our filling. It's divine, y'all. This is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company.
Hi, welcome back to Cooking Today. I am making lemon bars today. My favorite, like if we had confetti that like shot out of things from the ceiling and like went all around me like ticker tape, I would do that today, because lemon bars are my favorite. Psh, confetti. Okay, let me tell you what I've got going. We've made our little dough that's very kind of like a shortbread cookie that we are going to put into a little sheet pan. And let me tell you, this recipe could make a full-blown sheet pan. If you doubled this, and I'll be honest, I usually just double this recipe and make one entire sheet pan. And when I say an entire sheet pan, I mean like, pardon me, like this big boy. So if you double the recipe, you're gonna get a full sheet pan, but I'm making a half sheet pan today for us, which is kind of sad. This is sad because there's not very many. This is what I usually make because I eat half. And then whoever else is around gets the other half. Okay, so what you want to do is get this kind of scraped out of your mixer. And again, you can always do this with a hand mixer if you would like to, if that's what you've got. But you could not do that with a whisk. You're going to have something, an electric, a small electric. And then I take my Baker's Joy and spray my pan down real well so that they don't stick. And this is a really great little tip for getting this batter out. So I take my bowl scraper, and this is thick. I mean, this is some hard work right here. Oh, we added our zest. I think we were doing that right when y'all stepped away, but we added our zest to it, so it's in there. Oh my goodness, getting my work out. Okay, so I'm scraping this out. We want every little lick of it out of the bottom of our pan, even the part that I just flung, okay? And we want this in our pan. Now, some recipes are gonna tell you that you just need to pat this out with your fingers. Well, that is so much easier said than done. It's a mess, it sticks to your hands, and who wants that? So here's what I have learned how to do in my season of making these. It's kind of crumbly a little bit, so I kind of crumble it and loosen it up so that there's a little bit of dough in all of the areas. Okay, kind of breaking it up into crumbs, little clumps. Okay, pretty close. Hang on one second. I could eat this, but we don't have enough for me to do that. Sometimes, you can kind of spare cookie dough or whatever. You need all this, but boy, it smells good. It's that little bit of lemon zest. Okay, so do you see how I kind of broke it up into sections, little pieces, to make sure that we've kind of covered the area more or less, and it's sticking to my hands. Even if you were to spray your hands, it's still gonna stick to your hands. So what I do is cover that, and then I take a piece of parchment sheet, just a sheet of parchment, and then lay it right over my sheet pan. and then just give it a press. Like I push my hands and you can see through the parchment, so you can watch. You can kind of see what you're doing so that you know what area you've covered. And so I'm just going to press it all together with my fingers, and then make sure that we get all the way to the edges, because you need crust all the way over to hold up and support the weight of our filling that we're going to put on top. You will also hear people say to push this up and kind of create like a little rim. I just don't really mess with that. I think that's a little bit of extra work that I don't like to do. And I like for all of it to be across the very bottom crust. It's nice and yummy and thick. So it's almost like we're like playing with Play-Doh, y'all. So I can see what I've got going, and it's all coming together. And then what I'm doing is kind of taking my hands and rubbing it, because you can kind of tell on here where there are high spots and where there are low spots. This is important. This is like building your firm foundation. It's got to be on something solid. If it's not going to hold. And that'll preach. Okay, so the beauty of the parchment. Look at this. We've pressed, pressed, pressed. Look how clean my fingers are. Lift, lift, lift. Look. Perfect. How about that? This is a great tip when you're doing anything like that, where it says press it in with your fingers. Don't press it in with your fingers. Not alone anyway. Go ahead and get your parchment in there. Perfect. Now let me tell you, we're going to take a little shortcut here just for the sake of time. What you really need to do is follow the recipe. I'm just tapping this down where the loose kind of crazy looking pieces are. But you really need to set this in the fridge and let it chill for about 20 minutes before you stick it in an oven to bake. We're not doing that for the sake of time. I'm going to just stick it in an oven. This is at 350 for about 20 minutes or so. And you want to see it get nice and kind of brownish, and you'll be able to tell that it's kind of drying out. We're going to let that bake. I'm going to set my timer, and when we come back, we're going to make the most yummy, tangy, sweet, sweet, sweet lemony filling to go right on top. We're making lemon bars. This is Cooking Today.
Iced tea, sponsored by Lipton.
Experience the local sounds, sights, and taste of the Fayetteville Farmers Market.
Do you know the producer behind your food?
What about how far away your food was grown?
Local to us means your food is harvested hours before traveling less than 60 miles to our market.
Enjoy music, chef demos, and special events while you shop for locally grown produce, meats, cheeses, flowers, artisan crafts, fine art, and more.
Visit us Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday on the square.
The Fayetteville Farmers Market, 100% local and loved.
Hi, welcome back. If you're just joining us, we're making lemon bars, my favorite. Let me tell you what we've got going. We baked our little shortbready yummy crust that I showed you how to press down. Wasn't that a great trick? Did you applaud? I mean, when I pull that up and it looks so good, it makes me want to applaud. I love a little time saver and something that's just such a good little kitchen hack like that was. Perfect, perfect crust, smooth as it can be and pretty. We baked that in a 350-degree oven for about 20 minutes or so. It just starts to get the tiniest bit of color and dry out around the outsides. You don't want to bake it to a crisp like a dark cookie. You just want there to be just the tiniest bit of like brown color. So I've pulled that out, reduced the oven to 325 from 350. Because that's the temperature that our filling is going to bake on. Now let me tell you why I've got this layered up right here. This is the hot pan that's come out. I set it on a larger pan because when we make this filling, which we're about to do here in a minute, it is full to the top of that pan, full to the top, and it's straight up liquid. And so it is by miracle design for you to be able to walk that without it being on the sheet pan, for you to hold that and walk it over to your oven and squat down and stick it in there without sloshing it, it just doesn't even happen. And so my trick is to go ahead and layer it up. It makes it so much easier to carry that bigger sheet pan over to the oven rather than trying to carry that one exactly, you very well may slosh a little bit, and if you do, it's better for it to slosh on that sheet pan than on your oven door or your floor. Done that and done that. So this is my little tip on this. And like I said, if you were to double this recipe to make a full sheet pan, I would still suggest doing them in 2 half sheets rather than the full, simply for the fact of moving these to the oven. It's easier to move 2 half sheets than to move 1 big full sheet. Does that make sense? So I've learned those lessons, so learn from my mistakes, and you will be a happy camper with these lemon bars. Okie doke. So here's what we're doing next. I've got my sugar, and here's what we need to do. I have got my, let's see, I'm gonna scoot this real quick. I've already grated or zested my lemon, and it was a couple of teaspoons of that, like 4 teaspoons or so of lemon, and I've started to go ahead and squeeze these lemons. These are the ones that I've already zested. See, they're kind of yucky on the outside. Zest first, then squeeze, because these are really hard after you cut them in half. They're hard to squeeze after they're hard to zest after they've been cut in half. So zest them first, then squeeze them. And it takes, we're trying to get 3/4 of a cup of lemon juice out of this. And it takes probably 4 to 5 pretty good sized lemons to get that much out. Gang, listen to me. Use real lemon on this recipe. It will make all the difference. Do not buy, no offense to the little plastic lemon in the produce section, you know, the one with the screw off lid. That's artificial, and you want real lemon. You're not gonna get the same flavor, the consistency, or anything out of the fake lemon. Use real lemon. It's not hard. You can go buy this little gadget at any store, and you could even do it by hand if you wanted to squeeze them. But this makes every bit of difference in amazing lemon bars and pretty good lemon bars, okay? So I've squeezed after I've zested those off. And we need about 3/4 of a cup. Nailed it. So we're right on there, okay? So I'm gonna do my 1.5 cups of sugar. Actually, I'm gonna use my little 1/2 cup. We'll do it 3 times. 1. Oh, what if I run out of sugar while y'all are watching? I think we'll be all right. I'm never out of sugar. I've got a ton of it in the I've got it. It's just not with me. Okay, gang. I'm making do. So 1.5 cups of sugar. And then we have our 4 teaspoons of zest that I'm scraping out and putting in there. And then I have my lemon juice. And the reason I'm going ahead and doing it through this is a terrible looking little old strainer that I've had forever. But I'm pouring it through there because there's some pulp that squeezes out when you zest your lemon, and there are some seeds that got in there, and nobody wants the pulp or the seeds. So I'm giving that just a little shake to get all the liquid out. Okay? Then I'm just going to whisk this together real quick. This is a great base just for lemonade. And then I'm going to put in 4 large eggs and 1 egg white. So it's 4.5 eggs. 4 large eggs, 1 egg white, and pour it right over that crust. Bake in a 325-degree oven until it's nice and set. We'll pull them out when we come back. This is Cooking Today. Welcome back. I hope you've enjoyed today. We have just finished up my favorite lemon bars. This is a recipe from Magnolia Bakery in New York. Let me tell you what we've done. We cracked those eggs into that bowl and whisked it in with all that good sugar and that fresh squeezed lemon juice and zest. and carefully poured it over our pre-baked warm crust. We put that in the oven at 325 for about 20 to 25 minutes. You really want to watch it, and you'll see how it starts to dry out and it starts to look a little bit kind of gummy and chewy, and it gets these little bubbles in the top, so you're going to really be able to tell that it's done. And then these need to cool for a while. They need to be completely cool. Refrain from just cutting open a warm one. They're delicious that way, but you want them to cut really nicely. That's kind of the headache that a lot of people fuss about with brownies and lemon bars and anything that's a little bit goopy. And so you want to let them cool so that you can cover these and let them cool at room temperature let them cool at room temperature uncovered for a while. Then chill them in the refrigerator for quite a while so that they are almost cold when you are ready to cut them. And then all you do is take your nifty little hand sifter from Unimaze and go right over the top with a yummy little coating of powdered sugar. And then the best way to cut these is with a hot water sharp knife. Run your water over it, hot knife. Wipe your knife clean between every cut. You will have perfect, delicious, tart, my favorite, lemon bars. Hope you'll try these at home and love every bite. This is Cooking Today.
Cooking Today, sponsored by West Rock Coffee Company. Kitchenware is provided by Unimaze. Groceries provided by Harps, Hometown Fresh. Online Elements sponsored by Fayetteville Farmers Market.